Good morning, students. We are in video 2 of OCAD. So, in video 1, we learned about what exactly is organization change and what are all the benefits of organization change. So, that was in video 1. So, today in video 2, we'll be learning much more concepts of organization change. So, basically, what is the root of organization change? Organization change may be due to different reasons. The factors may be changes in governmental policies, changes in market demand, or due to changed technology or changing technology or upgradation of technology, as well as social changes or due to failures of the organization or due to competitive innovation or cost cutting. Also, organization goes for change. And there are four types of organization change. Different types of organization change will require different strategies. Everything from implementation plan to the communication should be tailored to the type of change that the organization wants to make. So, strategic and structural changes may call for additional training and gradual transitions, while a remedial change would require immediate action because that changes will be directly affecting or implemented with the management, right? So here's we'll come across the most common types of organization change along with the examples. So first is the strategic transformational change. So what exactly is that? So strategic transformational changes nothing but all changes that will affect some aspects of a company, but not all changes are transformational. Minor, for example, minor modifications to existing tools or policies, which will influence but not completely redefine a business, or there are any major changes on the other hand, which transfer companies, or whether the transformation is positive or disastrous depends on the strategy which is used to make it. Here are the examples of some strategic transformational change. Updating the mission as you grow. When companies first launch, the initial focus is often on lead generation and getting clients through the door, right? However, once the company has an established customer base, the focus could shift to upselling. For example, when the main mission changes, the company's mission needs to evolve as well or get updated as well. And introducing new technologies. Technology is designed to make our lives easier, but learning curves can make technology related changes tricky to implement. People generally prefer to stick with what they know. Getting adjusted or acquainted themselves to the technology, newer technologies, it might take some time. When you introduce new technology, you need to have a solid plan for the transition. People want to know why the technology is necessary, what makes it better than previous solution, and how you're going to support them during the transition. If you plan to switch from an outdated CRM to Salesforce, start by justifying the change. Explain that Salesforce will allow the team to manage leads while also engaging with current customers. Be sure to point out key benefits like keeping marketing, customer relations, and detailed analytics all in one place. You can build confidence in the change by explaining that the transition will be supported with various change management tools that offer capabilities such as in-app training, weekly check-ins, and an internal chat for handling questions. Employee training and development for new skills. What does it mean? Additional training is a great way to support existing talent while also helping the company to evolve. It's important that employees understand that the goal is to support new strategies as opposed to fixing deficiencies. When presented properly, additional training will be viewed as a benefit to the organization as well as to the employees as well. They'll see that you're willing to invest in their personal growth. Strategic transformational changes should be made gradually and monitored closely. Transformations don't happen overnight. You will need to make adjustments and work closely with the team as strategy shifts. Next is a people-centric organization change. While all cha- while all changes affect people, people-centric types of organization change include instituting new parental leave policies or bringing on new hires. Even if you think employees will be excited, for the changes, and empathetic approach is key because emotional reactions are common, right? So when you want to go for this kind of change, people-centric change, make sure the rules and regulations or policies which you take into should be accepted by the employees as well as the customers and the consumers as well. For example, new hires. Bringing on new team members requires onboarding and training, which can affect both the new hires and the established employees. Start with communication. Explain the reason for hiring new people or building up a new team or expanding the team. Changes to roles and responsibilities. Job descriptions can evolve over time. Changes to an employee's responsibilities may require additional training and restructuring of teams. And checking up routines is a delicate process. It's essential to have a strategy for change implementation and communication. People like purposeful change. Communicating the value of the change is essential. If you're adding a responsibility to someone's role, such as delivering monthly email marketing reports, the employee will be more likely to receive the news well if she understands why, right? And employee training and development for new skills. Navigating policy changes is complicated. When you alter policies that directly affect employees, such as parental leave, vacation, or remote work policies, you risk extreme reactions. Employees could feel cheated. As always, communicating the why behind the change is key. Employees may not like the reason, but they will appreciate your honesty. Remember, people centric changes are prone to emotional responses. Prepare for the emotional journey and be ready to guide your team towards acceptance. Structural changes. They involve major shifts in the management hierarchy, team organization, and the responsibilities attributed to different departments, employees, or teams. These changes often overlap with people centric changes as they directly affect most, if not all, employees. And following is the examples of structural change. It might be mergers and acquisitions. Mergers and acquisitions are the most common cause of structural change. Eliminating role redundancies, redefining goals, clearly redefining new roles, and responsibilities and training on technology are all important parts of managing change during mergers and acquisition. You'll be learning about Kurt Levin's model of change, which again will deal with the creation of new teams or departments. Structural change can also apply to smaller adjustments such as creating a new team. If you notice that some employees have more of a knack for analytics, you might decide to create a separate team for which will be dedicated to reporting. The necessary shifting of personnel and duties could create some tension as well, but it might be of help to both the management and the employees as well. Changes to the company organization chart. Promotions and new roles call for updates to the organizational chart. When moving people around, be sure to celebrate wins like promotions and explain adjustments such as merged departments. Structural changes influence how your company functions as a whole. It's never an easy transition, but solidifying the change as soon as possible can help you to avoid major issues down the line. Remedial changes. Remedial changes are reactionary. This type of change occurs when employees face unexpected changes or role, or is the company searching for new candidates who will take over the responsibilities immediately? How will this affect day-to-day habits? Do they do highly inefficient process of to remedial changes? You might notice that new employees are struggling to learn internal tools and software. As a result, they are running into established employees with questions. Time is wasted and everyone ends up frustrated. So, in this case, what happens? A remedial change could include a combination of a user onboarding program for application training, a company for basic company knowledge, and an onboarding handbook with knowledge resources that promote self-guided learning. So this was about the different types of organization change. So in the next slide, we'll be learning about the two environmental factors which drive change in organization. It might be external environment or internal environment. External environment is affected by political, social, technological, and economic stimuli outside of the organization that will cause the change. And internal environment is affected by the organization's management policies and style, systems, and procedures, as well as employee attitudes. Organizations are constantly responding to their external environment by making necessary changes in their internal environment. Sometimes pressure for change arises from internal forces also. External forces are those the changes that are part of an organization's general and business environment. There are several kinds of external forces an organization might face for. For example, first is the political factors. What are those exactly? Government restrictions often force change into organizations. This can be something as simple as a change in minimum wage for employees or as complex as rules and restrictions governing fair competition in business. So, what do they do? For example, when the Affordable Health Care Act was put into place, businesses had to change their operations and put steps into place to confirm that all employees had healthcare coverage to comply with the new law. Right. So this was the condition which, or this is an example which explains about the political factor. Now coming to social factors. So what are those? Changing social trends can pressure organizations into making changes. Consumers are becoming more environmentally conscious, a trend which has pushed fast food restaurants to replace styrofoam containers with paper. So you get aluminum containers nowadays, right? Whenever you go for street food. Manufacturers of cleaning products changed product formulas to omit phosphorus and other environmentally threatening chemicals. Tobacco companies have buckled under the change of smokers, the dangers of their products, and some have started looking into e-cigarettes and other smoking alternatives to stay in business. So next is the technological factors. Technological changes can make or break a business. Technological advancements, particularly in communication and computer technology, have revolutionized the workplace and have helped to create a whole new range of products or services. Whether new technology is introduced industry wide, as when the laser was introduced to modern medicine, making surgeries easier and safer, or when it's introduced to end users, as when consumers stopped renting videos to enjoy the cheaper, more convenient streaming services like Netflix. Organizations they must change to accommodate new technologies or suffer the consequences. So these was the technological factors. And next is the economic factors or economical factors. So what do they explain here? The uncertainty about future trends in the economy is a major cause of change. Fluctuating interest rates, declining productivity, uncertainties arising from inflation, or fluctuate, deflation, low capital investments, the fluctuating prices of oil, recession, and the lowering of consumer confidence have a marked impact on different economies and organizations. During the 2008 recession, consumers lost their jobs and cut back on their spending. These economic downturns had a major impact on businesses. Banks also were failing, right? General Motors and Chrysler filed for bankruptcy. Survival meant adapting to change. Companies like Lego, who experienced stagnant US sales during this time, took the opportunity to build their markets in Europe and Asia as well. Netflix realized the potential of providing in-home entertainment to families that had cut back their entertainment budgets and grew their subscriptions by 3 million subscribers in 2009 alone. Meanwhile, in the midst of spiking fuel prices, gas-guzzling Hummers were no longer in vogue and were disconnected. Coming to demographic factors, a changing work demographic might require an organization change in culture. For instance, Avon built and grew their business around door to door cosmetic sales with a stay at home wife and mother as their primary frontline employer, right? When more women entered the workforce in 95 jobs, Avon had to shift gears and find new ways to get their products in front of their customers. So these were about the factors. And now let us move on to the governmental factors which might lead for organization change. Governmental intervention in the form of regulations also lead to change. First is the deregulation. This is nothing but lessening of government rules and increasing decentralization of economic interventions at the level of the state. What previously used to be essentially government sector services and industries are now being handed over to private companies for operation and maintenance. Next is the foreign exchange. Foreign exchange affects international trade transactions. In these transactions, payments are often made in terms of a country's own currency. The exchange rate variations determine the currency payments. Reduction of exchange movement depends on factors such as balance of payments, interest rates, supply and demand. Due to this, government imposed restrictions on the importing of selected items. Next is the antitrust laws. So, what do they do? Most government follow antitrust in one form or the other to restrict unfair trading practices. That too, in India, the government has restricted the unfair movements of business houses by enacting the monopolies and restrictive trade practices in 1971. Anti dumping duties. They are the penalties imposed on a nation by its trading partner if it feels that owing to an unfair reduction in cost, duties, etc., the partner company's products enjoy a price advantage. Suspension agreements. They are the agreements between governments to waive anti dumping duties. Protectionism. Intense competition has forced governments to put into place measures that protect some of their threatened industries and business firms. Trade barriers to protect local industries may take various forms, such as tariffs or import duties, quantity quotas, and government subsidies also. So this was about the reasons which might lead to the organization change. And in the next slide, we will be learning about the types of organization change. So again here, as we discussed earlier, we'll be dealing more with the different types of organization change. And next will be planned changes and intended results. So what do you mean by that? We'll be learning in the next slides in the video 3. So for now, we completed video 2 and thank you for listening, students.